All right. Hello, everyone. I'm Naveen Prakash Duraisamy. I'm a technical account manager at Acquia. I've been working on Drupal since 2007, and I've been working with Acquia for the last 4 years. Today, my session is converting the Lovable design into the Drupal canvas using AI. So this is the agenda of what we'll cover. We'll cover Drupal canvas. I'm not going to cover in more details because we have the keynote session today, which covered Drupal canvas in great details, and Murray covered site templates yesterday in great details, and just before the lunch today, recipes and site templates were covered in much more detail. So I just will just quickly go into what Drupal canvas is, what are the features of Drupal canvas, and I will just focus on explaining my journey, my experience about converting the Lovable AI design. Firstly, designing a page in Lovable AI, and how we converted the Lovable AI design into Drupal canvas using AI. There are two methods: one, just manual without using any coding agent, just doing the design and converting into Drupal canvas, and the second method is using the agentic workflow using coding agent. And we'll just go through the comparison and the key takeaways. Right. So firstly, what is Drupal canvas? I know most of you know what Drupal canvas is. It enables the site builders without Drupal experience to easily theme and build the components and assemble the page. It allows the marketers to quickly assemble a page using the existing components and publish the page. It provides a drag and drop interface with the live preview and real-time editing for the non-developers to edit the components and page layouts and publish. These are the key features of Drupal canvas. So I'll just explain how this journey started. Right, couple of months ago, I was explaining to my customer what Drupal canvas is, what are the cool features of Drupal canvas. Hey, this is Drupal canvas. This is recently released. It's part of Drupal CMS. It gives the visual page building. It has a component library. You can build the components, code components. You can use UI to build the components. You can have the templates. You have the global components like header, footer. You have views integration. There is a code component, it's a React code component. There is AI integration. You can use Canvas AI to interact with your Drupal canvas and make changes to your content, make changes to your components, and it supports a responsive preview. And I was explaining the benefits of Drupal canvas, like you can just design the components and put together a page in less than 2 hours, and just it's a quick to market. It reduces the time, development time. It reduces the marketer's time in publishing the page and making the website live. He was very excited. He was very excited to the point that he asked me, okay, if you can do it in 2 hours, can you just show me? I'll give you 2 hours, build a demo and show me. Okay. so that's how it started, right? So then I was planning to give the demo to the customer. So initially, I just used the component library, the site template, one of the site templates, and just dragged and dropped some of the components and then built the page and showed to the customer. But he said, okay, this is not following my brand guidelines. This is not my brand. This is not going to be useful. I need to be able to design using my own design style guides according to my brand guidelines, and you should be able to demonstrate by building a page that follows my brand guidelines. So that's how this journey started, right? So what I decided to do is design the page in Lovable AI by following the brand guidelines of the customer. While doing that, all those design guidelines were configured in the guidelines.md file. This is basically a context for Lovable AI about the design guidelines of the customer. And I exported those components. I have also instructed Lovable about the Drupal canvas specifications. So I exported those components from Lovable as Drupal canvas components. I imported them into the Drupal website with the Drupal canvas installed using the canvas CLI, and I assembled the page and published the page and demonstrated to the customer, right? So this is the workflow. Just going into the little bit more details on each of those steps. So step 1 is creating the guidelines.md file. This is important because the design that Lovable is going to do should follow the brand guidelines of the customer, and we have to give those contexts to the Lovable AI about all those design guidelines, what the color palette should be, what the typography rules, what's the spacing, layout guidelines, the component guidelines. All those context needs to be available for Lovable, so it can design the page and the components by following those guidelines. So that's the first step. Configure, set the context to Lovable on the brand guidelines, and step 2 is basically upload those guidelines to the knowledge section of Lovable AI. That's where you set the context. And step 3 is prompting Lovable to create the design. This is an example prompt. I just created a Delhi tourism page. So I have given the prompt, create a Delhi tourism with these components and following the design guidelines. And Lovable went ahead and created that design. I'll just quickly show you the design that it came up with. You can see this is the design. It has designed the header, a hero banner, there is an attractions slider, and the food court, the flavors of Delhi, and the stories and some facts about Delhi. So you can see that this is the guidelines that I have configured in Lovable with all those design contexts. Let me just expand it a bit. So this one I manually prepared, like what are the design guidelines that should be followed by Lovable. So it includes show more. It includes all those color palettes and CSS variables, the spacing, the component guidelines, etc. In addition to this design style guide, I also have to set the Drupal canvas export configurations, how the Drupal canvas configurations should be exported. The component should be exported, right? So when it exports, when I tell Lovable export all these components as Drupal canvas components, it should know what is the schema, what are the properties, what rules it should follow to export the components as Drupal canvas components. So all those configurations, all those guidelines to export the components as Drupal canvas components are also configured in the guidelines.md file. Okay, and then I have given this prompt. I want to build this landing page for this website, include all these components, and I have given some note, ensure you follow the design guidelines, and the output is this that I have just showed you, the header, banner, food courts and all that stuff. So that's the design part in Lovable AI, and the next part is to export these components and import them into Drupal canvas. Because we have already configured Lovable AI with the Drupal canvas export and Drupal canvas specifications, I just went and prompted Lovable AI to export those components as Drupal canvas components. And then I have installed Drupal canvas CLI. This is the node package canvas CLI, which is a command line tool. So you install canvas CLI in your local and you connect to your Drupal website, and you run this npx command to upload all those components that you have downloaded from Lovable into Drupal canvas on your Drupal website. And then once you do that, you will see the components in the component library, and we just assemble and publish the page, right? So this is the canvas CLI. This is the node package that I have used. It has all the instructions how it needs to be installed on your local. Here is the demo that I recorded, where after running the command, it had imported all those components. After running the canvas CLI command to import those components, you can see, yeah. So this is the home page that was assembled, and you can see in the home page I have assembled all those hero banner, attraction slider, food courts, and Delhi facts. You can see the component is designed in a way with all those properties. So Lovable designed those components as Drupal canvas components with the configurable way with the properties. So if you want to go change your banner heading or banner background image, we can do so. The colors, everything is configurable. Here I am just trying to change the color of the heading. We can see the live preview. It just changes the color to white and black based on the property change that I make here. And then we can go review, select and publish. So this is the first way of doing it. where we designed in Lovable. We exported the components. We asked Lovable to export those components, used Canvas CLI to import those components, and assembled manually. As an editor, you log in, drag and drop, assemble and publish, which is good, which serves a purpose. It has definitely very close visual parity. When you compare the design with the landing page, it definitely works fine. We definitely get the visual parity. The components are reusable. You can export it from one website and you can import it to another Canvas website using Drupal Canvas CLI. It's a fast prototyping. You can just prompt Lovable and then export it and import it. As the customer demanded, it can be done in less than 2 hours. And we have the component props for customization. But what is missing is it's not the structured content model. So Lovable designed everything as a React component, and all of the content is actually hard coded in the template. So we just take the React component and then import it into Drupal Canvas, and the content is all hard coded in the template. If it does provide the property configurations to override the content, but it is not a Drupal way of handling the content, right? So you have the food card, and let's say if you want to add a new food item recipe to the food card, you then have to go and modify the component. That's not the Drupal way of doing it. In Drupal, we have to use the content type and create a food node, and then it has to automatically appear. So it is still good for a static one-time page or a quick campaign page. If you want to do, you can just quickly do it, and if your focus is only for a one-time use or a static components or static page, it is still okay. But it is not the right method to do an enterprise CMS, right? It doesn't follow the structured content model. It doesn't use the views for the dynamic content. In this case, all those attractions and foods are the dynamic content. It didn't use the views for the dynamic content. It is all the content is all hard coded in a React or Drupal Canvas component. There is no taxonomy used. There is no editorial workflow, no governance, no security, and any content change needs a developer to modify the component and deploy the component. So that's what I have been doing. And then in April, DrupalCon Chicago, Dries demonstrated a similar approach of converting the Lovable AI into Drupal Canvas, which was really nice. That's a Vision 25 project, I believe. I'm not sure if you have all seen that DrupalCon video of Dries. He demonstrated it really well, and I was looking for more details how he did that, and Scott actually published an article which actually detailed how the DrupalCon Chicago Lovable to Drupal Canvas demo was made successful. I went through the article and I just followed the steps that is laid out in the article, and this is the workflow here. The design part is still the same. You use the Lovable AI, you feed the design guidelines to Lovable AI, and you ask Lovable to create the design. And instead of asking Lovable to export them, and instead of using Canvas CLI to export and import those components, we use the coding agent. In this case, I used the Claude Code as the coding agent, and I have configured the Drupal Canvas skills and the Drupal skills. It's agents.md file, which I just updated with all the Drupal best practices. I can show you. And the agent goes ahead and looks at the Lovable design, and it exports those components and it imports them into Drupal Canvas in a Drupal way, not the static hard-coded way, but in a Drupal way. And it assembles the page, and we can go ahead and review and publish. There is definitely a lot of time savings. It reduces the development time, which because it's an AI-assisted design. The designers can work on Lovable for the design part, and the editors can work on configuring and assembling the page and publishing the page. The code ownership, we still have the complete code ownership because the code is on Drupal source code repository, your Drupal project source code repository. Right. So this is the detailed steps. I mean, these are the list of steps that I have followed in the method 2, which is the agentic method. Of course, we have to do the design in Lovable. We have to install the coding agent. The Cloud code is the one that I installed, and I have added the necessary skills. The Drupal Canvas skills, we have the Drupal Canvas skills that is already available on GitHub. We just need to add the Drupal Canvas skills to your Cloud code, and you have to update your agents.mt file with all those Drupal best practices. And then you create a local DDev Drupal 11 website with the Drupal Canvas, and we then prompt the Cloud code, which is your coding agent. Give your coding agent the Lovable AI design and the GitHub repository of Lovable design, and it goes ahead and reads those UI design, Lovable AI design, and it also reads the source code of Lovable AI components, and it creates those components in Drupal Canvas in a Drupal way, and it configures them, assembles and publishes the page. This is a sample prompt that I have given the coding agent after designing the UI in Lovable. Clone the site at this Lovable UI in the Drupal CMS 2.0 with using Canvas, and follow the Drupal best practices. Ensure visual and functional parity, and the code is available at, this is the Lovable's GitHub repository. Right, I can just show you. So Lovable provides the Git repository which we can use. You can see these are the components that Lovable had designed for which is attractions, hero banner, food carts and all that stuff. It is important that you have to give the source code repository of the Lovable design to the coding agent, because just with the UI design, it is difficult for the coding agent to read through what the component is and create those components as Drupal Canvas components in your Drupal Canvas website. So you have to do both. You have to give the UI design, and you also have to give the source code repository. So Lovable can efficiently, your coding agent can efficiently convert that Lovable design into Drupal Canvas. Okay. So this is the DDev website that was created by the coding agent with all those components. It created all those components. It created the header, hero banner, attractions. All those components are created. The main difference is it is all created by following the structured content design, by following all the Drupal best practices. You can see, let me go back. You can see Go structure and content types. You can see that the coding agent created these content types. It had read the Lovable design. It understood that the food carts, the food recipes, the story, the attractions are all the dynamic content. So it created these content types with the necessary fields. The coding agent created these content types with the necessary fields. And it also read the content from Lovable design. You can, if you go to the content, you can see it migrated all of those content, dynamic content as nodes inside the Drupal CMS. So you can see all of these food recipes created under the cushion item content type. You can see the attractions that were in the Lovable AI design were created as nodes under the attraction content type. You can see the daily story is also content type that is created, and each item is created as a node under this Delhi story content type. And interestingly, it also created the views. You can go and structure views. These are the views that it created. You can see that created the attractions view, which powers the attractions component, and it created the Delhi story view. It also created the cushion view. It also put together this home page. If I just go and edit this home page, I didn't do anything manual. This is all, this page itself is assembled by the coding agent. So if you go and look at the layers, you see it had put together all of these components here. If you just go and click one of the dynamic one, which is the food carts here, you can see that in the settings you have the API endpoint. It is created as a code component. It is still a React code component, and it is the JSON API of Drupal views that is powering this code component, right? So in this case, if compared to the method one, in this case, if you want to add a new cushion item here, there are already 6. If you want to add the 7th one, you just go and create a node under the cushion item endpoint, and it will automatically appear here. You don't need to just go and modify the components again, right? Because it's all done using by following the Drupal best practices and structured content design. And for some of the static components like banner, if you want to change something in banner, you can go change the image, change the headline. Those properties are still available. All right. So how is it made possible is this is the Drupal canvas skills. These are the list of skills that I have added to the Cloud code. You have this is available on GitHub. You just need to run the npm command to add these skills to your Cloud code or any coding agent. And this is the vision. This is the Dries Vision 25 project that was demonstrated in DrupalCon Chicago. So I just used the same agents.mt file which he used, which has all the instructions that are here. For example, there is a content architecture context that is set here, where it says if you see any of the dynamic content, for example, any content type that will have more than a handful of entries, you have to create them as views. So there are instructions around when to create the content type, when to migrate the content as nodes, when to create the views, when to use the content templates. So all those best practices and instructions are available in the agents.mt file, which you have to configure in your coding agent. So it understands these are the Drupal best practices, and when it converts the design, it follows those best practices. All right, going back. Okay, so the result, we still get the visual parity, of course, but the benefit is it's a full structured content model, and it creates the content types, taxonomy. We have already seen it created the views relationship. I didn't try the taxonomy part, so I'm not sure if it will create the terms and taxonomy terms and entity references. I haven't tried that, tested that. There is editorial workflow, of course, and security and governance. So the most important part is the agent handles all those content export, component migration, Drupal configurations importantly, and the page assembly. Here is a quick comparison of the first way and the second way of doing it. Of course, the second way is much better. We have already seen all those benefits. It's a structured governance, configurable security, and editorial workflow. So Dries said we use AI to prototype fast, and then we use Drupal to build the systems, right? We can use Lovable, or you can use Figma, you can use Replit, or any other design system for that matter, right? You can use those design tools to do the design, but then it is important that you migrate those designs into Drupal CMS by following all the Drupal best practices, so that you get the structured content design, and you can leverage all of the Drupal CMS features that Drupal has built for more than 25 years. So the manual, the left one is the agentic way, and the right one is the manual way. So the agentic way definitely is much better. It's a production ready with the structured content and governance, and manual is just a rapid prototyping. And just using Canvas CLI. So we can go to production in either ways, but the bottleneck is not about going to production. You get the visual parity, but what's important is the design, the best practices, the creativity, the strategy, long-term maintenance. That's what is important. So before converting, you can convert any design into a working page and just host it. But what's important is whether you are following those best practices, following the structured content design is really important. Next steps. This is just the first pass of this, right? This is the page. Definitely, I can confirm that it has the visual parity. This is the page that AI put together. This is really the first pass. I did it only last week. I have not done any detailed testing or improvements to this. This is the first pass. It definitely created the components. It has a visual parity. It followed those Drupal best practices, but I am sure we have to do more testing and ensure the other best practices are all followed, and the agents.md file, that's the one that's having all the Drupal best practices. We have to review and keep improving the Drupal skills in the agents.md file for the best practices. I am also not sure how it will. It's a blank Drupal 11 website with Drupal canvas installed, and the agent just created everything as a new components and put together a page with the existing themes on the website, with the existing site templates on the website, with the existing design systems. Whether the agent is going to understand what is already there in the existing website, and it can reuse some of those components, all those stuff that needs to be tested. That's another thing as the next step. I am also not sure if we can give an existing page. This is all designed to Canvas, but if you have an existing website which you want to convert to Drupal Canvas, if you just give the URL to the existing website, how it will do is something that also needs to be tried. So these are the resources. If you haven't watched Dries Note DrupalCon Chicago, he just gave a high-level overview of the demo, and this is Scott's article about how the demo was made possible, which is what actually I followed for this demo, that method to demo. And this is the Git repository for the Dries Vision 25 project that was demonstrated in the DrupalCon Chicago, and this is Drupal Canvas documentation. Yeah, I think that's the end of my session, and thank you for approving, for selecting my session for Drupal. This is my first Drupal conference, and thank you for the steering committee for selecting my session, and also thanks for the accommodating our last minute request, because we have seen, actually we were originally supposed to present the AEO, GEO and the bot traffic, but yesterday Sean covered the bot traffic really well, and today there is another session that's already ongoing in the other room, I believe, about AEO and GEO. So we asked Dave Sparks and Nicole to just swap our session with this one instead of just repeating the same topic in the Drupal conference. And sorry if we put together all these slides quickly in few hours, and thanks Daniel for helping me in just putting together this documentation, and thanks for your guidance on the flow and with the guidance on how this should be presented. Thank you.
Awesome, that was fantastic. Any questions from anyone?
Not a question actually, but your last slide, can you change the font, etc.? It's really difficult to read what you have written there. If you can just show that slide with a different background, maybe, I don't know.
Sure.
So if you can just show that on the screen, I think it would be helpful for everybody. Thank you.
Definitely, yeah, thank you. Like I said, we just put together very quick, and
Well, I think it's an amazing presentation to come together in a couple of hours. So.
Yeah, thanks very much for a really interesting presentation, and obviously put together really quickly, but amazing. Just curious as to the output of the Canvas code in terms of CSS. What does it produce?
can you repeat the question? Sorry, I didn't get you.
What does the agent produce in Canvas for CSS? Is it Tailwind or is it pure straight CSS or what?
No, I didn't get you. What the CSS? Okay. So it's SDC, single directory components. So the Canvas produced the global CSS, and the component-specific CSS are placed in the component-specific directory.
Yeah, was it just like vanilla CSS?
What CSS?
Each component was just plain CSS?
Yes.
Yeah, great. Thank you.
Yeah, plain CSS, yes.
Thank you so much for the presentation, Naveen. Question on updating things. So once you build that version autonomously, how easy or hard is it to ask Lovable or whatever agent to actually do the update, like a follow-up update? And have you tried it? And if you have, what does it involve? Does it involve like just an overriding of things, or as in files, or is it more complex?
I haven't tried the component update. The content update, of course, I have tried the content update. We can update the content. In terms of the components and templates, the components update, if it is a minor update, I think we can just go and modify the component within the Drupal canvas. It's a code component. We can modify the code and review and publish. You can also use Canvas AI to modify the components as well. But if there is a major update, if you want to make a major design change to the component, we have to again work through Lovable or any other tools to just modify and push the update. In terms of what the process is, whether there will be any problem, I haven't tried updates to the components yet. Yeah.
Thank you. But does that actually have a connection? Does Lovable know about the Canvas AI side of things? So when you ask for that update in Lovable again, would it be able to remember what you've done initially?
Yeah.
And what if you have done extra changes in Canvas AI? Would Lovable know that those changes were done?
Lovable won't know. I think each component has a schema, and schema has the machine name of the component. So Lovable and Canvas connects through the machine name of the component. Right. But of course, if you have made changes in Canvas, then Lovable is not going to be aware of that. You can still export and import it inside you need to synchronize the directory.
That's right.
So yeah, so Lovable has the GitHub, and Canvas, you have your Drupal project GitHub, you need to synchronize the directory. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem.
We're almost out of time, but we can probably sneak in one more quick question if you talk quickly.
Hey, great talk, thanks. Just a question on the design aspect of it. So that was obviously a reasonably straightforward design. What happens when you push your design side to the limit? How does Canvas and the CLI and the Agentic system work? Does it replicate it pretty accurately, or have you tested it to kind of like the design side?
So the second way, which is Agentic way, the design is the same. I have not repeated the Lovable AI design, but the coding agent, there are multiple phases it went through. The coding agent went through. The first phase is reading the design, understanding the source code of the components, and the second phase it just plans everything, what needs to be done. These are the components. This is what I'm going to do, and we approve it. And after you approve it, then it goes ahead and create those components and the Drupal configurations, and it tests the visual parity by using the playwright, and then it confirms everything, and the page is assembled. It's autonomous workflow. Of course, it may ask you to just confirm few things, but it is autonomous workflow. I have not seen any hiccups during this process in the first pass. No, it went through fine. Yeah.